Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. It's funny that I thought I won't actually have enough to show you, but then I started piling up the books that I don't think I've actually spoken about acquiring. Lo and behold, it's like two massive stacks. So these are some of the books, because I will probably not remember all of them, but these are some of the books that I have acquired since the end of summer, I want to say. Let's talk about them. Okay, first I got Saga Volume 10. I can't believe we actually have it. It's been a very long journey. I feel like it's been a long hiatus as well, but this is basically like a space opera Romeo and Juliet type of forbidden love, but make it more inappropriate and age it up. The last volume that we had really ended up on an emotional journey, let's say. I have been a fan of Saga for a very long time, but I think my love has dwindled down because of the gaps in between, which I totally understand. But I also think it's fair of me to feel that way. Excited to read this, but I'm really kind of hoping it's going to reignite my love for it. Although I do think that we have another hiatus after this, so I don't even know if I should be reading this or just wait for a bit longer, but I probably will. So I got Saga Volume 10. The next one is actually one that I've heard my Patreons talk about, and then I decided, yeah, that sounds good. And it's called The Lighthouse Witches. It is set in Scotland, which is partially a reason why I wanted to get it, but it's also about witches and this island and a lighthouse where mysterious things keep happening, especially people disappearing. And we follow our main character, Luna, who 20 years later goes back to this island where the whole of her family, like two sisters and her mother, disappeared. And she's about to do some investigating. And I think there's time stuff. I feel like time stuff was literally why I got this, but I could be wrong now. Someone let me know in the comments. I'm like, I keep forgetting things. My memory is not great. Did get this around like the spooky season, I guess, and obviously we're kind of past that, but I don't necessarily read by the season, so we're good. So the next one is the new release, well, ish now, by the author who wrote In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, which I did enjoy. Maybe not as much as everyone else, but I did really enjoy it. And I want to read more from them. And it's called The Last Housewife. And it seems to be a girl who moves away from her town, but back when she was in that town, she had a friend, and both her and the friend got kind of manipulated by this very eccentric man, I think. Anyway, years later, she hears that her friend from home has died, and she hears that from a podcast that's specifically for true crime, and then she kind of works with said podcast to go and investigate what happened to her. Through that, from the synopsis, she starts meddling with what sounds like a cult, very swiftly starts to forget where her, seeking of justice is, like, starts and ends, and where her own desires for this weird, new, seductive lifestyle come in. It also seems to be something about, like, female rage, because I have the bit in here that says, but in a world built for men to rule it, both inside the cult and outside of it, is justice even possible, and if so, how far will Shay go to get it? So I do want to get to this pretty soon, so probably will go in my priority TBR, which I've not forgotten about, but it isn't going too well. But we're gonna try and fix that in December a bit. Next is This Novella by T. Kingfisher, who is the author of The Hollow Places, which I have read fairly recently. You can watch my spooky vlog for that. Thanks to Ashley for giving me this, because she got 2 copies and just had 1 spare, so thank you very much for this gift. And it seems to be a retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's classic Fall of the House of Usher. And it seems to be, again, moving back to a town you grew up in and finding a lot of, like, fungal growths. Lots of sleepwalking and talking in riddles and nonsense, and very much fever dream vibes. And I did really enjoy the writing especially, and the humor in The Hollow Places. I had big issues about plot and pacing. However, it's an author that I really want to give another go. I really enjoy the writing style, and I think it has good potential for me to be one of my favorite authors, provided the plot fits better than what I thought The Hollow Places was. So Also excited. We're clearly going through the books I kind of got around this spooky season. We're getting there. I also got this special edition of If We Were Villains, and I also have read it. I've not talked about it yet because it was supposed to be a Dark Academia vlog in November, but November has, honestly, this was the only book I read in November, apart from the one that I'm still going to finish, which is for a book club with my Patreons, and that's the very secretive Society of Witches. Secret Society of Witches? I'm blanking, but that's the one. I'm in the middle of that one, but other than that, this was the only book I read. So, safe to say that vlog is not finished. This is a special edition of the book, and it is gorgeous. It has custom end papers, the foil, and different end papers on the back. And on top of that, actually has illustrations throughout. Just seeing if I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. Like of that sort, which was pretty cool as well. I feel like you'll all know, so I'll keep it brief, but this is about a group of students. We're following the story being told by the guy who was convicted for a murder, and we're learning the story through his updated recount of what happened after he's released. So the next book is a book that I got for that vlog that just not happened yet, but it's called These Violent Delights. This is a queer gay story about a student who transfers somewhere and is grieving and gets very attached to this other person who's very charismatic but also very cruel, and their relationship, I'm assuming, is gonna be quite like toxic, and I have heard since very much this described as be gay, do crime. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I guess we'll see, but not yet. It does, unfortunately, have deckled pages, which I thought we moved past that. I thought we left deckled edges behind because nobody likes them. Okay, I have some special... I really should have ordered these a little bit better, but I didn't. So I'm just grabbing them of how I just plopped them randomly in a pile. But the next thing is very exciting for me. You guys might have seen these already because these are just the covers that they have redone for... I'm not sure if it's just UK, but they redone Stormlight covers. And the first part is The Way of Kings, but comes in 2 parts. And these are the covers, which, you know... exciting already. I mean, I did like the original ones, but I missed out on the hardcovers, and these are kind of a B format, so smaller hardcovers, but so pretty. But these are the Fairload editions, so we have ourselves very shiny, pretty sprayed edges. These could not have come here at a better time as well, because I'm just announcing to my Patreons that their suggestion will be a reality, and 2023 is going to be the year where we tackle Stormlight, and I have a whole schedule ready, and it's gonna be very low-key, gonna have a lot of time for each book, and then we'll meet at the end of each book to discuss, and we're also gonna tackle the novellas. But my plan is that by the end of 2023, literally, we start this December, and then we finish at the end of 2023 in December. We will be caught up and ready to tackle the next installment in this series whenever that happens. I think 2024. So plan. This is gonna be in the Moon Reader tier, so the second tier with the book club. The book club is still happening, by the way. This is on top of that. I'll see how I manage. Maybe we'll have to do the book club bi-monthly. I don't know, we'll see. But so far, I'm just planning on doing the book club and then on top of that, doing this as a side project as well. So I'm very excited. I need this accountability. I'm very excited to actually read these books and talk to you and then remember everything, invite maybe some people to chat with me. So if you're a Patreon, that is happening. You'll know the details. So yeah, 2023 is the year that I finally tackled this. I have read these too, but that's where I stopped, so I really need to continue. Excited, slightly terrified, but mainly excited. Then we have Cackle, a little book I picked up at one of the Edinburgh bookstores, and it seems to be a little story about... We have a lot of like small village books, I'm just realizing here, accidentally. Anyway, after a very bad breakup with her now ex, she moves from Manhattan to a small town somewhere where she meets a very unapologetic woman who she really gravitates towards because she just lives her true self and is unafraid of anything. However, the whole village seems to be quite afraid of her, and she does seem to wield a very unusual type of power. So we're exploring that, and it is described as deliciously dark feminist tale of witches, bad ex-boyfriends, good coffee, and friendly spiders. So it seems like a little bit of a quirky, cozy type of fantasy, which nice. Slew Foot. This is, I think, short story. This is short story collection. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at those end papers. And I'm not gonna lie, I mainly got this for myself and Logan for maybe some D&D inspiration, but also because it is illustrated, a beautiful edition, and I've seen it at Ashley's when I was there, and that was literally it. I do think I will keep this for the next spooky season though, and oh, it's just so stunning. Look at that cover. Look at this. The vibes, immaculate. I don't know much about it though. It's short story, so I don't want to know much about it because I feel like it's already gonna be short, so I might as well not spoil myself at all. But just wanted to let you know I got that too. The next two purchases are actually solely based on the name. So the first one is Dark Matter. You'll know why. One of my favorite books is called Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, so different author. And I bought this blindly because I was like, I'm just gonna read it either way, just to check the name, if it's, you know, just a sign. It was a sign from the universe, so I got it either way. But, well, it says a ghost story right there, but it seems to be about a expedition to the Arctic from Norway, and the guy sets out there, and then one by one all of the crew members for some reason have to leave, and he sees the last sunset girls. Obviously, then you know how Arctic works. And in this forever night, he suddenly feels very much not alone. A ghost story, and it's fun because there seems to be like some illustrations as well. Interesting. And then the next one is very much on brand, considering that my last video was a readathon announcement. Check that out if you've missed it, because I would love to go to the old Favor Pass with you. I promise it's a fun one, okay? But it's called Mindwalker. Where have we heard this before? So as a proud Mindwalker myself, I really just had no choice but to try this. This is a YA sci-fi that seems to be the type that we have this person that needs to go somewhere, but they think that you're a traitor, and then you have to infiltrate another organization to destroy them from within, and then possibly learn something about the original organization. You know the sort. But it's honestly been a very long time since I've read this, and I'm excited to. I'm excited to. So, got me with the name. I also really like the cover. That seems to be a vibe. Then I have a couple of sequels to show you. So this is a Ballad of Never After, which is a sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart, and this is a Fairyloot edition. So I'm just gonna show you the features more so than talk about it, because again, as it is a sequel, so we have the edges, we have the beautiful foil on the cover, and this, and the back, more end papers. It's just so beautiful underneath. The dust jacket with more art, and the colorway of this is also exclusive, and it's signed. I just love the little mushies on the... Then The Dragon Promise, which is a sequel to Six Crimson Cranes. We have the dragons on the edges, and then the sprayed edge on top and bottom. This foil on the cover, the name on the back, and this beautiful on the characters. I'm trying to get some sort of order here for the video, which I should have done before. Speaking of Fairyloot, these are some of the books that I got from the YA subscription box. This one might be my new favorite edition, and it's Belladonna with this gorgeous cover. I mean, I have a type. I definitely have a type. Something morbid and floral on the cover, sign me up. This is why I lean so hard towards Kingfisher books as well, because I just love that. And then we have purple on purple action, which again, I love. And then we have this, and this cover, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's kind of like a different type of material, and I love it. If all books could have that, that would be great. But we have this PLC printed on it, and I just think it's gorgeous. I wish you could see it in person. I mean, you might have it in person, so you know. But if you don't, then I wish you could have it, so you could see it. Bonnie's artwork inside, and she's one of my favorite artists, so I of course love it. It's very gothic. It's so stunning. This is definitely Wednesday vibes now because I have seen that. I did like it. It took me a little while to get into it because it was a bit cringy at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie. But once you get into it, and then I thought the red herrings were actually quite good, which is unusual, and I wasn't expecting that. So pleasantly surprised, but also signed by the author. But Belladonna is a story about a girl who is surrounded by people only interested in her wealth. And then she also gets a message from her mother saying that she was poisoned and she wants to uncover what that is. So she has to actually make a deal with death itself. So sounds nice and grim. I like it. Then I have a couple of things from Illumicrate, which I would like to show you. So the first one is The Whispering Dark, which I believe was a book in October's box. Beautiful sprayed edge with black top and bottom. It's also signed by the author. These really pretty, I just love the color scheme of this, and papers and these details here. And then also the back here. This seems to have very much dark academia vibes, but the main character has a hearing disability, which is nice, and I'm excited to see how that was handled as well. But we do have that kind of like prestigious boy nonsense happening, I think, so it's interesting. And the other one that was included in a box was The Book Eaters, which sounds really interesting, but I have since heard medium things about it, so it's not super high on my list. But if you have liked it, or if you read it in general about any of these books, please let me know so I know how to adjust my expectations. Basically, it helps. But the book itself is beautiful, and I really like the concept, which is that there are these book eaters, but then there's a deviation from book eaters, and instead of eating stories, there are those who are born mind eaters, and they have to eat the soul, or what was it? Yeah, souls of humans, and they're basically like the outcast, and this is following that kind of child. So it sounds very kind of gothic-y and nice, and obviously we have a design to match. So it sounds interesting. And it also takes place a little bit in Scotland as well, so added bonus. The last bit from Illumicrate is this Gideon set. I did debate whether or not I should get this because I read the first one, but I feel like I was kind of midway about it. I do like the humor a lot, but I like it when it makes a bit more sense. And this one is, you know, it's not necessarily a series that you will understand everything throughout, and I do not mind it when it's a little bit, but it was a lot. but I do think that Logan would enjoy this a lot, and he did listen to a little bit when I was listening to it, and he did. So I got the set. I did it. It's just so beautiful as well. We have Gideon, and they have these beautiful foils on them, and as well as these. So that's the reverse jacket, which is pretty cool. Harrow with the pretty foil and the jacket. And Nonna, which is purple. And this is the dust jacket. And then I have a couple of books from the adult subscription of Fairyloot, the book only one. So we have the Dowry of Blood, which I know it's been out like as a self-pub before, but they have been publishing it traditionally. So this is the Fairyloot version. We have, and I've not actually read it before. So we have the edges, we have a slightly different cover, and this is a Dracula's wife story, and I think it's a poly one as well. We have the Manor Here, which is cool, if I'm not mistaken, and the art is by another one of my absolute favorite artists, which is Warwick Art. I'm very excited to read this. I have heard so many good things about it. If you have read it, whatever you thought of it, let me know. But yes, very excited about this one. Then there's another one by Veronica Roth, which is a dystopian called Poster Girl, which I believe is, again, of the system that has fallen, and then the girl used to be a poster girl for that system that has fallen and now has to kind of navigate all that. So we have these end papers of the map, we have this sprayed edge with this like eye seeing thing, as well as this on the cover. Then there's Spells for Forgetting, which sounds like a kind of like a mystery very spooky, atmospheric read. Again, about a small town. I don't know what it is with the small towns in this whole, and you know, a forgotten love and murders and stuff. So we have these end papers as well. And then last but absolutely not least is Babel. This is again a Fairloot version. We have 2 foils at the front, and obviously the sprayed edge, beautiful, with the solid ones on top and bottom. And then another one of my favorite artists, Avondale, did the end papers, which I absolutely adore. I'm so excited. I obviously loved Poppy War, and I'm even more excited about this. I still haven't read the other Poppy War ones. And then there's PLC as well with some foil details, which is just, it's a stunner. But like, who has time? I'm so intimidated, although I've heard that it's not as scary as it seems, because obviously it's a chunker, but I heard that it's not as actually hard to read as you think it would be, because it's all about language and translation, as the dark academia, and it's very much about like this, you know, the magic is that translation and the bits that get lost in there. So I did go to a talk of this author when it was in Edinburgh, and it was absolutely lovely. She seems lovely. She seems to have such a great sense of humor. I'm so excited about the books that she was talking about releasing soon as well. So just pumped overall, but slightly intimidated by the book. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I probably have forgotten something, but you know what? It's all good. It's all good. Now you're somewhat up to date, and I will try and do a better job keeping track of what I've spoken about and what I haven't. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, please do let me know if any of these you've read and have thoughts on. I would love to hear those. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Bye.